The story of the MOVE bombing is a tragic scar on Philadelphia's history. It is a tale of escalating tensions, deeply held beliefs, and the devastating consequences of unchecked authority. To understand the events of May 13, 1985, we must first delve into the origins of MOVE, the Black liberation group at the center of the tragedy. Founded in 1972 by John Africa, born Vincent Leppert, MOVE espoused a radical ideology rooted in black empowerment, environmentalism, and a profound distrust of government and technology. Rejecting modern conveniences, MOVE members adopted a back-to-nature lifestyle, often living communally and engaging in provocative demonstrations that challenged societal norms. MOVE's confrontational tactics, including bullhorn-amplified pronouncements and open defiance of law enforcement, drew both admiration and apprehension. They were a thorn in the side of the Philadelphia establishment, their very existence a challenge to the city's power dynamics. The group's staunch advocacy for animal rights, their unyielding commitment to their beliefs, and their unwavering resistance to what they perceived as oppression set the stage for a clash that would have far-reaching consequences. The group's name, MOVE, was not an acronym, but rather, as they saw it, a verb, an imperative to action. This action, often manifested as protests against police brutality, animal cruelty, and social injustice, increasingly put them at odds with law enforcement. The Philadelphia Police Department, already grappling with accusations of racial bias and excessive force, viewed MOVE with suspicion and at times open hostility. As tensions mounted, the stage was set for a confrontation that would leave an indelible mark on the city and its people. The relationship between MOVE and the city of Philadelphia was fraught with tension from the outset. MOVE's confrontational tactics, their vocal criticisms of the police, and their refusal to conform to societal norms made them a target of suspicion and surveillance. By the early 1980s, the group had established a stronghold in a row house on Osage Avenue, a residential street in West Philadelphia. Their compound, fortified with makeshift barricades and guarded by armed members, became a source of growing concern for city officials and residents alike. Complaints from neighbors about noise, unsanitary conditions, and aggressive behavior by MOVE members fueled the escalating tensions. The city, under pressure to address the situation, obtained warrants for the arrest of several MOVE members on various charges, including parole violations, illegal possession of firearms, and making terroristic threats. What began as a neighborhood dispute quickly escalated into a full-blown siege. On May 13, 1985, hundreds of heavily armed police officers, equipped with tear gas, water cannons, and armored vehicles, surrounded the MOVE compound. A standoff ensued, lasting for hours. Negotiations between MOVE members and police negotiators proved futile. Both sides dug in, the air thick with distrust and the palpable threat of violence. MOVE members, convinced that the police intended to harm them, refused to surrender. The police, frustrated by the impasse and under pressure to resolve the situation, prepared for a forced eviction, an action that would have devastating and irreversible consequences. As the standoff on Osage Avenue stretched into the afternoon, the situation took a dark and irreversible turn. Frustrated by their inability to extract the MOVE members from their fortified compound, Philadelphia police, under the direction of Mayor W. Wilson Goode, made the fateful decision to use explosives. At 5:27 p.m., a Pennsylvania State Police helicopter hovered over the MOVE house, dropping 2 bombs, one containing Tovex, a powerful commercial explosive, onto the roof. The explosion ignited a fire that quickly engulfed the MOVE compound and spread to neighboring homes. The inferno, fueled by a ruptured fuel tank and exacerbated by the police's controversial decision to let the fire burn, raged for hours, consuming an entire city block. The heat was so intense that it melted siding on houses blocks away. When the smoke cleared, the devastation was horrifyingly clear. 11 people, including 5 children, perished in the fire, their bodies burned beyond recognition. Only 2 survivors, Ramona Africa, a MOVE member, and then 13-year-old Birdie Africa, emerged from the inferno. 61 homes were destroyed, leaving over 250 people homeless. The MOVE bombing became a symbol of police brutality, institutional racism, and the catastrophic consequences of unchecked power. The immediate aftermath of the MOVE bombing was met with shock, outrage, and disbelief. A city grappled with the horrific reality of what had transpired, a confrontation that ended with the deliberate bombing of a residential neighborhood. A 1986 commission, appointed to investigate the incident, issued a scathing report condemning the city's actions as unconscionable and a gross abuse of power. The commission's findings, while damning, did little to heal the deep wounds inflicted upon the city. Mayor Good, facing intense public pressure, offered a public apology for his role in the tragedy, but many felt it rang hollow. The city eventually agreed to a $12.8 million settlement for the displaced residents of Osage Avenue, a paltry sum given the magnitude of the loss and the trauma inflicted. The legal battles, however, did little to address the underlying issues of racial injustice, police brutality, and the systemic failures that led to the bombing. The MOVE bombing, though officially relegated to the history books, continues to cast a long shadow over Philadelphia. The discovery in recent years of the mishandled remains of movie victims, held for decades by the University of Pennsylvania, has reopened old wounds and ignited fresh outrage. MOVE members and their supporters continue to demand justice, accountability, and a full reckoning with the past. They call for the arrest of the officers involved in the bombing, reparations for the victims' families, and a commitment to addressing the systemic racism and police brutality that plague the city.